Hey guys, I'm back with another candle review, and this time around it's for the 14.5 ounce 3-wick pumpkin candy corn candle from ScentWorx by Harry Slatkin, purchased at Kohl's. This is part of their new fall lineup, and of course this was the one that was most anticipated, so here we are with the review. The notes on this read: candied pumpkin, caramel corn, maple syrup, and powdered sugar. So yeah, this is quite a sweet and unique fragrance. It's kind of like things that we've smelled before, but just in a totally different combination that makes it kind of unique. And yeah, so basically what this smells like is you get a maple sugar candy type of fragrance, or like those, like the maple coating on like a Brock's maple nut candy. Like you get like a very sweet maple candy type of fragrance to it, mixed with a little bit of caramel as well, and it gives it a slightly butterscotch type of vibe as well. But what I get the most, first and foremost, is definitely that maple sugar candy fragrance. It's very sweet, it's very strong too. It's not quite as thick as like a maple syrup fragrance, but there's definitely like a light-hearted, sweet maple type of candy fragrance is what I get first, mixed with a little bit of caramel in there. What you get after that is just a very little amount of pumpkin spice. It's not overly heavy. It's not at all like a pumpkin spice you would get in like a thick pumpkin pie filling or anything like that, but just a very slight trace of pumpkin spice that just gives it an extra, I don't know, fall sweetness to it as well. And then you also get quite a bit of like a brown sugar slash molasses type of corn syrup type of note. There's like a thick syrupy fragrance that's not necessarily coming from the maple syrup, but in like a separate like corn syrup, brown sugar type of molasses type of thickness that gives it like a slight, I don't know, just like a thickness or a richness to it, but it's also very sweet as well. And lastly, you definitely get a powdered sugar note in there that's also kind of blended into the brown sugar as well. But the powdered sugar definitely gives it another like a dry sweetness to it, which is a kind of like weird contrast between the dry sweetness of the powdered sugar mixed with like the syrupy sweetness of the maple and the caramel and the brown sugar instead of that molasses note that I was talking about. But you do get a powdered sugar note at the end as well. And you mix it all together, and it's just like this very like kind of strange but unique and just very, very sweet candied fragrance that seems very like Halloweeny or trick-or-treaty. It just smells, I don't know, just like a bag of like a ton of different candies that are just all super sweet, just mixed into one, and that's what pumpkin candy corn smells like. I'm not really, once again, a candy corn connoisseur, so I can't really say if it smells necessarily distinctly like candy corn, but it's definitely some type of very sweet candy that kind of smells like if you just shove a ton of Halloween candy into a bag or something and mix it up. This is kind of what you would get from it in a very like sweet fall gourmand, sweet treat candy type of way. So it is kind of unique, but basically, long story short, you get that maple caramel mixed with a little bit of pumpkin spice, and then lastly the powdered sugar in there to give it an extra sweetness, and that is what pumpkin candy corn smells like to me. And now let's go on to the performance. This is about a 4th or 5th day burn. These burn very well. Like, they don't nub out at all like that first original launch of ScentWorx that I had. A lot of those had some problematic wicks to them, or they were like really unscented. This one is doing great. It does burn quite fast, hot, and vicious, so definitely keep the wicks trimmed on it. It has those thick rope-like wicks, and they do start to soot after like about 2 hours, so definitely keep an eye on it and just make sure you're trimming them, because these do burn very hot and vicious, and they pull out in absolutely no time. I think these pull out even quicker than Bath & Body Works candles do, but you get like a pretty fast melt pool and throw right off the bat, so at least it's good to go there. So no problems with the performance of the actual burn of this candle. Moving on to the throw, this is, oh my gosh, it's so strong. Every time I burn it, I can smell it like within the first like 10 minutes. It's like instant throw and fragrance. It kind of reminds me of like, you know, the old school like Slatkin & Co. candles back in the day from BBW, where you would like light something and you would smell it immediately and it would just start throwing immediately. This is kind of reminds me of that. This one's just probably the strongest of the ones that I've burned from this fall collection for 2021. Yeah, within like 10 minutes, I can already smell it. It completely fills my entire living room, even into the dining room, and also fills the foyer area as well. And I have pretty large, like high ceilings in this living room, and it just fills the entire space completely, like with no issue. Like when you walk into any of those spaces, like you are hit with that fragrance. So I would say definitely a good like 8. I would probably put it in the 8 range. It's definitely in the strong range. It's probably not as strong or as heavy, as like a summer boardwalk or pumpkin pecan waffles, but that maple and the mixture of the caramel and the brown sugar molasses and the powdered sugar definitely do like a long way to make it very like strong and intense. So definitely 8.5, definitely in the strong range. So I had absolutely no problem smelling this, and it's one of those that you smell like immediately. So there's that. Overall, this candle is definitely an improvement from some of those early ones that I've had, and I'm having no issues with the performance or the throw or anything on it. Totally satisfied with it, pulls out in no time. The fragrance is kind of unique in a very like candy, Halloween, trick-or-treaty type of way that I kind of enjoy, but it's not something I'll necessarily repurchase or even gravitate towards just because it's a little bit too sweet or just too much of like a maple and pumpkin spice and brown sugar and powdered sugar all mixed into one. I'm enjoying it while it's here and it's unique, but I just don't feel like I really need that much of like a candy fragrance all up in my stash. So one's more than enough, but totally appreciating just the uniqueness and just the packaging and the labeling and just how enticing the whole like, label and package is. Really appreciating that. So yeah, this one I would recommend if you enjoy those candy type of fragrances that are heavy on that maple and that pumpkin spice and the caramel in there. And if you're looking for something a little bit more unique that's just not the same old run-of-the-mill fragrances that are always out there, this definitely has a unique twist on all those notes that I've talked about. And if you like them strong, then I would definitely check this one out. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.